An enemy has done this.
The podcast you're about to listen to may contain objectionable language, adult and/or immature content, mentions of Jesus Christ, and unironic readings of holy Christian scriptures. If any of this is likely to offend you in a manner that you find less than enjoyable, maybe don't listen.
Hi, I'm Pastor Bob Schaefer.
And I'm Pastor Eric Damon. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome to CPTB, which does not stand for Clowns Pretending to Be.
We're waiting, Bob.
No, that's all of it.
I'm glad it doesn't stand for that then.
Clowns pretending to be.
As in a to be or not to be sense. So the answer for the clown is to be.
I'm just going to basically leave you hanging
Clown,
with that.
It is nobler for a clown to be than it is by. I don't have my Hamlet memorized enough to do a Hamlet bit right now.
Nope.
I
just wanted to leave you unfulfilled.
All right, since I failed on my Hamlet bit, what are we doing?
We're doing comedians with pastors talking Bible. And that really is like basically the whole premise of the thing. Every week we get a couple of comedians from the Pittsburgh scene to sit down here in the room with us to talk about the Bible. We use the Revised Common Lectionary as our source of scripture, a set of readings for every single Sunday of the year. And it, is kind of a pretty good scam we've got going here.
I mean, basically, we bring comedians on and have them do our job for us.
And they have never once asked us to do their job for them.
Why haven't you asked us to do your job for you?
Are you good at accounting?
That's why that's why he didn't ask us. I
did not come up with a good acronym in my head. All I'll say is it had to do with the Epstein files. So you can take that any which direction you want at home.
And we'll take your answers if you comment on our social media.
We are at CPTB Pod. Let us know what you think.
About a possible Epstein file use of our CPTB acronym.
Mm-hmm. So we're only, slightly off the script at this point. We're basically kind of in the ballpark of where we normally would be.
We've got at least one of the four wheels back on the road.
Yeah. But, basically the gist of it is that it's working better for us than it would work for the comedians to have us do their accounting.
Especially if accounting was the job. Mm-hmm. You do not want to see my attempt at balancing a checkbook.
Yeah. Thank God it's the only thing my my Asperger's brain can handle, man. Like I'm telling you.
I was asked once, we had an issue with the treasurer at a congregation I was serving, and we had to go back in and rectify all the check statements.
Yeah.
And I was a middle school kid taking like a life skills class. I had to have someone teach me how to do that skill because I've never done that with my own accounting in life.
It only gets crazier too. Yeah.
Like
I was on a phone call today talking to the CFO of a large hospital about millions of dollars. And I'm like, what is my life? Like, what are we doing here? It's crazy. We're talking Bible. That's what we are.
We are talking Bible. We are not talking accounting. That voice that you hear is Josh Rittenour. It's been a few years since we've had you on the podcast.
Has been. Look me up.
And how have you been doing?
I've been great, man. Yeah, just bought a house. Been doing some comedy. Now reading Matthew. I'm excited.
That's
like the pinnacle. I mean, you at this point will have maxed, and everything is downhill from here.
Is Matthew the top, one of the top 5 books of the Bible?
I mean, it's one of the 4 Gospels, so I'd say arguably it's one of the top 4 books if you're a Christian.
Okay.
It's without the Gospels, the story of Jesus.
Just cooked.
The rest of the Bible's just there's nothing Christian about it.
That's really funny. It's man, I didn't even know that. That's only one of the big 4, one of the pillars.
Yep.
Yes,
they actually call it a pillar.
You wouldn't be wrong in calling it
You
a
could
filler.
call it a filler.
Yeah.
That's it. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Ringo.
The old.
So we do usually we get in with our guests to talk about the way their life experience might shape how they come at Scripture. Before we do that, though, we do let our guests and our listeners know how we, as pastors in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, approach Scripture.
Because fair is fair. Here's the deal. As ELCA
I got Legend of Billie
pastors,
Jean in my head now. Fair is fair.
Ah.
All right, sorry.
Yeah,
if you're Gen X out there, your head went there too.
So Eric and I are both ELCA pastors, which means that our approach to the Bible is to treat it with a lot of respect. It is the written word of God, and we believe it is true. But of course, truth comes in a lot of different shapes and forms. It doesn't necessarily mean literal. Some things are literal truth. Some things are metaphorical truth or poetic truth. The Bible is a whole library of books. And so some parts of it are history. Some parts of it are poetry. Some parts of it are prophecy. Some parts of it are almost like a fable. And all of those things are present there. So we treat it as true, but we try to understand what the truth is trying to tell us, and it may not simply be the plain face value of the words. We also consider the Bible to be the yardstick by which we measure everything. Our fancy language for that is the authoritative source and norm of our proclamation and our life. And that just means that the Bible is the thing that helps us to understand how to live. It points us to Jesus, but Jesus is the goal, not the Bible itself.
And we don't expect our guests to hold to any of that, but we do.
Why not? I
a
thought
high
that was
bar.
like super persuasive on my part.
I mean, obviously the whole reason we bring comedians on is to try and strong arm them into becoming members of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America.
I have my clicker on my belt, and I don't think I have clicked it a single time during the whole 3 seasons.
We got to step up our game. But we do like to know where you come from before we get into scriptures. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just start with the general. You were raised in a Christian tradition?
Yep. So technically Catholic, but nipped that in the bud real fast. Went right to Methodist. My mom was Catholic. My dad was Methodist, and then he just kind of overrid that whole thing. So did Methodist church for a very long time. Did youth groups like every Wednesday. Went to Jamonville in is that like Uniontown?
Yeah,
PA?
Yep.
Great place.
Cross way up there on the hill.
Oh, it's sweet. Yeah, did that for like 5 years. That was fun. Like some of the best times of my life. Fell out of the whole thing in college. Read the whole God delusion book and all that. Went the other way. Went a little too far the other way. And then just didn't really like worry about it. And then as I met my wife, she is very Christian. So like been kind of like working my way kind of back. So I would say I'm somewhere like middle like right now. But I'll go to church. We went to church the other week. That was fun. Went to a gigantic mega one. It was kind of surreal.
So when you say mega church, was it just a big one, or was it like the non-denom praise band?
It was non-denom. I think it was like Allison Park or something. Allison Park Church, something like that. And hundreds of people, like super 4K TVs. People like rolling on these. I was just the production was too much.
Wait,
for
hold on.
me.
You just did an act out of rolling. What were they rolling on?
The camera was on
camera
a thing.
trolleys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the dude that was singing was like you could tell that his ego loved not like he was a rock star. Not in like a bad way. It's just like if you're in front of like 500 people like jamming out, you're gonna be like, I'm the man right now at 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. but yeah, so slowly kind of working my way back. Like I have prayed recently, which is interesting. So going through it.
That is, I mean, actually taking time to set aside for prayer.
It's more of like a thought before I go to bed.
But I thought of a prayer. I find that we've got a lot of folks that are weekly attenders at church who would tell you about, their faith, who that's a rarity that they actually carve out I'm gonna sit down and say I mean, they'll pray if an emergency happens, but I just felt like praying. I mean, I don't know about you, Bob, but I know for me to try and actually cultivate a prayer life in the members of the congregation is an ongoing task of the job.
Yes, it's really hard, and I suck at it.
I mean, I see it more of like a message in a bottle type of thing, where it's just like you kind of just throw one in there, you throw it in the ocean, and just go, all right. Like it's almost like an anxiety release thing, where like I know there's like a in the faith of Christianity, like there's a true purpose of sending it, up there. Like I also made my brother joke around and say prayer is like an email, and then when you hold hands and do it together, it's like it's fast tracked. Or something like that, and goes to God's inbox, and then he doesn't open his emails that often. But yeah, it's the way I see it. It's just like kind of just throwing it out there, and
I think that's
the holding
not bad.
hands
like a
is
lotto
CCing.
ticket almost, where if he decides that's the one he's going to do today.
The holding hands is CCing all of the other people that God cares about.
Yes.
So God's like, I got to respond to this one.
It's a lot of
and the message in the bottle, I mean, what is that except an expression of hope that something might come of this? You don't put the message in the bottle if you have really gotten to the point of utter despair. You do that, and maybe you look at it and you say the odds are long, but I'm still going to do this, and maybe somebody will find this someday. And when we are feeling distant from God or uncertain about God or just tired at the end of the day, I think there is something faithful and hopeful about putting the prayers in the bottle, tossing them out there, and even if it does not lead to an immediate epiphany experience of, oh, God heard that and God is here with me right now, you have done something that is trusting and hopeful, and there's value in that.
And right? I also see it like the comic. I mean, it's just like, this is kind of bullshit. Like he needs to save kids in Palestine like way before. Yeah, they're watching soccer World Cup games on rubble. Like there's a lot of bigger things than you know what I mean? Like, don't pick me, dude. Like, I'll thank you for listening for a sec. But
I mean, there's not a finite amount of God to go around, though. But definitely I'm praying for a parking spot that's even with an infinite God, that's kind of a dick move.
That's the funny part, is that even with infinity, I still feel like there's a limit. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, I really hope I don't have a parasite on my watermelon that I just bought. Please, God, don't give me explosive diarrhea. That's what I'm going to do later.
That's one of the things that I think it is hard, because you feel like my concerns are small compared to even beyond the concerns of people who are struggling worse than I am. If God is God, surely God is paying attention to things that are so much bigger than we even have any concept of. And God's like, got to stay on top of that. And like, so who are we even to bother God? And that's actually in Scripture.
That's a psalm. Who are we that God is mindful of us, yet you made us a little lower than the angels?
That's the reason why I probably will never get all the way back in, is because of that devil's advocate. And I'm like, hey, there you go, devil's advocate. But like of the like that right there is like, there's just all this like crazy, terrible things happening in the world, and it's like, all right, well, we're going to answer me, and I'm like, all right, well, does God need a manager? Like, does someone need to help him with this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was just crazy to say, but you know what I mean? Like, we need Jesus. Where's Jesus' sister, dude? Where's that person that like can like reel him in a little bit and be like, hey, let's actually get some stuff done. It's been a while. We need some salvation. Okay.
So I'm curious, the church that you found yourself at, is that one that you have gone together as a couple before, or was this kind of visiting churches, seeing what fits? How did you end up there?
So obviously my wife is going to inevitably pick the church because she's more into it than me, and I'm going to be the guy that kind of shows up whenever I have to.
Smart man who says, yes, I can come along.
Happy wife, happy life. And yeah, of course we're not going to say no, because I sit there, like my wife and like Oliver and like her friend who is like like she went to school for religion and Christianity and stuff, and is probably going to be in like a preacher of some sort. They both say I have the spirit of discernment, so I just sit there like grumpy the entire time, just like seeing through all the BS that's going around in the world.
That is the spirit of discernment.
Yeah, I just sit there like I did not have fun one moment at that church because I was just literally like almost judging. I'd say, yeah, I'm a bit of like a judgmental guy. Yeah.
Wait, is the spirit of discernment a like an evil spirit?
I just see through like they both say that I see the BS like way.
So there's like a gift of the when we name the gifts of the spirit, it's the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord, the spirit of joy in the Lord's presence.
So
I
it's
think
wisdom and understanding
is
not the spirit of joy.
Yeah, I got so grumpy with like the message. Like I'm super like I analyze the entire time of like the message and then the way they went about it and then the people and how they respond to it, and I'm just like, you're probably like racist. Like I don't even know why you're like so happy right now. Like you probably like watched an ICE video of someone getting deported and was like good, and then like it's gonna go there and be like ha ha. I just like I'm not into that. I need a congregation of one. Me. That's what I need.
I am a firm believer that it is good to bring your discerning spirit and brain to church and actually do exactly what you are doing, to listen, to think critically about what is being said from the pulpit, about what you are experiencing as a worshiper, that's a faithful way to engage worship.
And I think more congregations need to be willing to admit that we're not for everybody. Every congregation wants to think they are a one-size-fits-all congregation.
Yeah.
And it's just what we offer in my congregations and what that megachurch are offering. I mean, not opposed. If I'm going to give that megachurch the benefit of the doubt that they are doing the Lord's work.
100%.
But
yeah.
But they're definitely not doing the work that the people who are going to benefit from my congregation need. And the people who are going to benefit from their congregation are going to come to my congregation and get nothing out of it. It's just, they're two completely different experiences. And come to us, we're great for everybody. That if you're looking for a giant gonna get on the ground and really do an outreach project that is reaching hundreds of thousands of people, my little 70 people congregation is not the one that's going to put your team to work that way.
I'm also a little bit more like fire and brimstone of religion, where it's like, if I'm going to get into this, or how about this? If you're going to be in it more than me, you better be like trying. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like I don't like anyone that's like a foot in, but it'd be like, I'm doing this weird stuff on the side. That's
what kind of weird stuff?
Anything, dude. And just like, I mean, for example, just the one I brought up is like your stance on like people getting torn away from their families, like whether you're like about the illegal immigration thing or not, like that just sucks. If you can't sit there and just go, that sucks. Like I just know for a fact, if I'm in a room of 500 white people, in northern Pittsburgh, I know that at least one person like watched the video and was like good, and now they're like singing, and I'm like, you're really playing both sides of this fence here right now.
I think on some of those issues personally for me would be beyond what I was saying about the one size fits all. That if you're not caring about the well-being of your neighbors, regardless of where they were born and what they look like, you're not part of the body of Christ. I mean, I want to back that up, because all of us fall short of caring for our neighbors in the full amount that we should. But if the mission of the congregation is aligned with an intent to oppress some people, that's a moral issue. That's not your congregation style is different. That is a church dividing issue in my book.
And I'm not saying that the church is like promoting that anyway. Like that'd be insane for them to do. I'm just saying like the fan club of the people in the faith of Christianity give me a lot of conflicts of where I was like, do I really want to like stand next to this person and believe into the same thing, and we're all like coming together and doing this, but then what, we're gonna go eat pizza later, and then you're gonna bring up something I'm like, this is insane. Like, we're gonna really have this conversation. You know what I mean? But like, we just went through this whole thing about how we have to be like nice to another person. You know, like I don't know. I'm very, very conflicted person when it comes to faith and Christianity.
So I'm curious how it has felt. You've like done basically a whole lap around the faith track at this point.
Yeah, dude, I've yelled at I've had full blown arguments with like Christian people that came to a Slippery Rock University, like outside of like the food hall. Like I've had screaming arguments with them, like saying how it's BS, and now I'm like on my way back. Yeah.
So how does that feel to like have done the lap? I mean, are you finding things that feel familiar, or that you're encountering them again for the first time and going, oh, I get that better? Or what's the experience of like coming back around the corner, Ben?
I'm not. How about this? I'm not pushing it. I feel like because I was younger, like the swing was like harder. You know what I mean? Because like I was so deep in it one way, and then I went like way deep in the other direction. And when you're young too, there's like a lot of like emotion. Like I'm just not like pushing it. Like if I decide to like want to go to church, cool. If I decide I want to like read some Bible verses, cool. If I decide I want to pray, cool. Like I'm not like there's no timeline. Like there's no like to me my bar is like I always made this argument of like, if God made me and he knows everything about me, he's going to know everything I'm going to do. So like if I just do what's to me the best I can do on a daily basis with like, you know, being the best person I can be, then overall I'll probably be in like the winning half of this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like there's people that go to church every Sunday and they're probably way worse of a person than me. So like that's the way I like the way I'm just not pushing it. I'm just gonna like let it happen.
So you're aiming to be on the right end of the bell curve.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? Like we're all pretty much average. Like so it's good.
No, I mean just as two Lutheran pastors, we have to. Like the linchpin of the Lutheran lens at the faith is that every one of us is on the losing end of the bell curve. Like the best Mother Teresa made it almost to the upswing of the bell, or to the now I'm using bad bell analogies, but Mother Teresa.
Think of the bell.
Mother Teresa made it to almost doing good, and the rest of us are just such miserable failures that you need Jesus. So the I'm winning to get into heaven is.
I don't even think of it like that. It's just like I just don't like the conflictedness of it. Like I said, like you do want like the way you guys would go about it is like I have a problem, I'm working on it, I'm still trying my best. But there's people that like go to church that are like extremely judgmental people and apply those judgments, and then I'm like, well, that's not in like good faith of the thing that you are going to every Sunday. So like that whole thing I just don't subscribe to. Like I just can't be around that. So so like that's where I'm saying like I'm better than that guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing better than that, but like I'm losing in other ways, I'm sure. So
you just unfortunately happened to stumble into an area where you were going to push a Lutheran button there, and we almost set you up for that.
It's all good. I'm glad I pushed the button.
That's just, it's our thing. All the denominations have their thing, and our thing is saved by grace alone. That's.
Dang, I like this. So yeah, screw up as much. All right, screw up as much as you want, guys. We go to a Lutheran church, and you're good. You just got to pick. So now, see, this is the discernment. All right, so if you just pick the right denomination, whatever you're up to will be all right. If you go to non-denom, you better be clean. But Lutheran, have fun.
Church is the place where those who need to be healed go to be healed.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, we all need to be healed.
Thanks.
And it is good to want to be, as you imagine, a bell curve on the better side of that. I mean, that is part of what Jesus calls us to do, that we should love the good. We should try to do the things that are just and that are right and are kind and compassionate and merciful. Those things please God. It's just to recognize that, first of all, you are going to fail. You will let God down, and that's. I was going to say that's all right. It's not all right. It's enough not all right that that's the whole reason why Jesus needed to do what he did.
Right.
But it is all right in the sense that Jesus did in fact do that, and so whatever grace you need, it has already been provided. And so do the best you can. It won't be enough.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be. What Jesus did is the thing that is enough.
Is God grave on a curve?
God grades on a
There's-
cross.
Yeah, there's no curve.
Yeah, that was good. That
Oh,
was
that's
good.
a bumper sticker.
That's a good. That's good. That's clip it. Clip
That
that.
there's
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
That's it. That's it right there.
I done got a good degree. I can say smart stuff.
As we talk about the reconciling the fact that there are people with problems inside the worship communities of our churches, how about we hear a parable about the
weeds.
good
We doing the
living
weeds?
with the evil, Bob?
Absolutely. So here we are looking at the gospel for Sunday, July 19th, which is the 8th Sunday after Pentecost. And we are dwelling with Matthew chapter 13. And be aware, we are skipping a handful of verses in the middle of this. So good to possibly be asking yourself, I wonder what on earth they left out of this reading.
Did you do the work ahead of time to know what they left out of
Of
this
course
reading?
I didn't. Why would I have done that?
We're busy, man. Come on.
But we may pay attention to that or we may not. All right, so here we are in Matthew. Jesus put before the crowds another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who has sowed good seed in his field. But while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from? He answered, and I kind of love this line, an enemy has done this. I'm sorry, an enemy has done this. And the slave said to him, Then do you want us to go out and gather them? But he replied, No, for in the gathering the weeds you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn. Then he left the crowds and went into the house. And his disciples approached him, saying, Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field. He answered, The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone with ears listen.
Say an enemy has done this in your best telenovela voice again.
Something.
Enemy has done this.
Oh, that's good.
It's good,
Doesn't
yeah.
it need a da-da-da?
I couldn't do it then. And I can't. That's he's just
An enemy.
that is you. If pastoring doesn't work out for you, you can definitely be in telenovelas. If there's anybody still making money in telenovelas,
I don't know if you can do just telenovela voiceover, because I mean I am not telenovela actor material.
yeah. Well,
You
I mean
definitely got
that's
some audiobook in you, man.
Yeah.
that.
But that line just really, every time I come across it, it just like, it is so melodramatic that I just can't help myself.
Yeah, this one too. Like what got me just like giggling in my head is that like a slave is just like, what did you do? Like how did that slave not get that shit kicked out of him? That's what I was like worried about. I was like, you're questioning your master right now. Like also, it's like, can we like reword this a little bit to like get it back to like 2026 where like slavery isn't like let's lighten it up a little bit. Like maybe like just house like farmer.
So there are some translations that probably have used the word servant here.
Yeah.
The Greek word would be doulos, which is slave. It's not the same kind of slavery as existed in the American South. So it is not slaves as, pieces of property, chattel slavery. It is not the utterly dehumanizing institution.
Yeah.
But it's still complicated language, especially for us in this country with the heritage we have.
So, so if you're doing a paraphrase translation, you can find things that would demonstrate the relationship better than slave master here. But as far as an actual word for word translation, there just isn't a better word, because worker is not correct. These folks are not there to get a daily wage the way we think of.
It's probably more like medieval peasant, I'd imagine, right? Where it's like this guy owns all the land. They have a little shack over there. They come help work the land, and he's like the lord of the.
That would be a closer.
Yeah,
and I think you are right about the cheekiness of what they are saying. I mean, they're basically saying,
"Do you suck at what you do?
Didn't you do that right? Why is it all effed up,
sir? Did you buy the crap grain again this year?"
Yeah. Just like calling out your lord, like basically, like even if we go that direction, like it's just crazy. It's just
So part of what you're seeing, I think, is that the parables sometimes are over the top, like a telenovela on purpose. The melodrama can help to communicate the message, to capture your attention. And that can be like an intentional rhetorical device on the part of Jesus, that he wants you to be going, whoa, dude, wait, what is this now? And I mean, even the scenario is like really melodrama, though. I mean, think about the whole evil plot is as you are planting your field, I'm going to come in with a handful of weeds and chuck them all over the place. And you're not going to find out until like everything starts growing up together.
That is like low key evil, though. Like
that is some serious petty evil too.
Also,
there's no benefit for the doer of that evil.
No electricity, no LED lights. Like you're going out like under the moonlight, sneaking around, just planting
sowing weeds. Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
It is just like
that is an enemy at that point. I think if you're doing that, that's very that's very nefarious.
That is one step away from the horse head in your bed.
That's the medieval version of it.
That is definitely the biblical times.
I'm sorry, Godfather.
There is in a lot of the parables that end with the gnashing of teeth and fire.
Yeah,
there is a way for a preacher to separate very easily the idea of full individual human beings being thrown into the fire, and just sin and evil being thrown in the fire. Jesus's explanation in this one is harder to walk around than he's pretty much like the weeds are the children of the evil one. There's evil people. Sorry, they're gonna burn. It's not an easy message to preach.
He doesn't often get like that hyped up, right? Like he doesn't get that.
Oh, this is him explaining it to his disciples.
Yeah, so it's a little bit closed
it's an
door.
Internal circle, but this is even for them. He's giving it a one-to-one. I don't want you to mess this one up. You need to know exactly what I meant, and he's pretty clear that the weeds are not just an abstract concept of evil in the world. The weeds are actual children of the evil one. That is as Lutherans who want to preach saved by grace alone, we want Jesus loves you. You want to say it is really hard to walk around the weeds are the children of the evil one.
Did Jesus just push your Lutheran button?
Jesus pushed my all the buttons with that line. It is as someone who struggles with the own faith of am I good enough? A message that exists with that there are evil ones out there is just a difficult message. I mean, the good news of faith is that when I start to think maybe I'm not good enough, well, I still got Jesus to turn me. And this is no, some of you I'm going to throw in the fire. It is a rough one for me.
So yeah, two things I was thinking of with this. One is I I take it down to like not even like a religious level of just bro, but like like I'm trying to be the best person I can be. So it's like, okay, if I'm always gonna be surrounded by like weeds, and eventually at some point they will get plucked out of like the system that I'm in, right? So I just have to dwell around it long enough and grow around it enough to where eventually when it's time to like harvest whatever I'm trying to do in my life, the weeds will be gone. Like you just have faith in like that. So I took it down a notch, obviously. And then the second thing is, do you think like Jesus, like he's the boss, like is the disciples like his managers, where they had like a weekly teams meeting where they all like met up and they were like fired, hell and brimstones, and then they go, oh god, okay, here we go again, and then they have to like figure out how to spin it to like they're like the people below them, and to be like, this is what like you have to like, because like my boss doesn't tell me the truth every day, like she gets the truth and then she has to blend it in a way that makes me not want to quit my job. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Daddy.
I just want to know if people get muted out the same way. They just start in the middle of their sermon and then just cut out in the middle of it. And people are like, what is he talking about?
So for those who've been with us in video, you may have seen Seth Queen come in. For those listening to audio, you just heard him. He arrived here on a last-minute request to come join us. Thanks for coming. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to be here again.
We are discussing the parable of the weeds that grow up with the wheat.
We trust you're familiar with it.
Yep, he's got deep exegetical commentary.
I spent all my whole youth, just studying away.
So it turned his hair red.
The basic gist, Jesus is talking about telling a parable, and he says there's a guy who had a field and he planted wheat in it, and in the dark of the night somebody comes and puts weeds in among the good seed that's been planted.
Who did it, Bob?
Well, it was an enemy who did it. Must have been an enemy, because they discovered that the weeds and the grain are growing together. And so the slaves say, dude, did you fuck up?
So funny.
And
like, what are you doing, dude?
Come on, we know not to do this.
This is where he says an enemy has done this, and they ask, should we take the weeds now? And he says, no, don't, because you'll take the good grain too. Wait until it all grows, and then at the harvest you can separate them. So this is actually the part we haven't talked about, is that there is a particular kind of wheat. I believe it's darnel. And it looks, when it is young, really basically indistinguishable from the wheat that would have been growing. And so when it is mixed in there, you really just can't easily tell what is what.
Wow.
And yeah, there like is no good answer to this. So the enemy was in fact very clever. And so part of what's going on here, I think, is that this is also the churches that Matthew is writing to and writing his gospel for, because this is being written years after Jesus died and rose. They are probably experiencing within the church that there are some Christians who, as you talked about,
spirit of discernment, dude. I knew this was coming.
Yes, you go and you say, what is up with these Christians who seem to be on the wrong end of the bell curve? And part of the answer that we are getting here, possibly put into the mouth of Jesus, depending on how you want to understand the composition of the scripture, is an enemy has done this. And yes, there will be people who are of bad faith, people like literally of bad faith, and you can't easily tell them apart. And so there's almost a sort of, God is going to have to sort this out at the end. So there is a kind of grace here of go to church with them. You don't ultimately know what is in their heart, whether they are just, a little bit of mutant wheat that is, kind of struggling and having a hard time of things, but still wheat, or if it's the weed. You can't tell that until the fullness of time, when the fruit has finally been born. And it will be up to the master of the harvest to do that. I think that's part of what's going on here.
And just in context of Matthew's gospel, this is it. I mean, we've just had, as we're recording this episode, I'm preparing to preach on another parable on weeds, where the weeds are the thorns that choke out and kill the plant so it can't bear any fruit. And it has to be. The only way I can reconcile that parable existing side by side with a parable where he's like, just let the weeds grow, is if it is something like Darnell, that it won't choke it out. It's gonna coexist with it, but it's taking up space, and you're gonna have to get rid of it in the end. It's not gonna have any real value at the end. Again, though, where is the good news for those of us who the question is not, what about these sons of bitches? It's, am I a son of a bitch? This is not a good parable.
Darnell?
Can we just hold up, though, and emphasize the very important distinction between preparing to preach on another parable on weeds versus preparing to preach another parable on weed?
Do we need to? I mean, I can smoke a giant bowl and prepare. I mean, I haven't for decades, but why not try something new, Bob?
It's weed season at the church, Queen. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah.
I knew this was a cool church.
I will say though, like reading scripture like that, like I kind of said earlier, it's like being able to apply that stuff to your everyday life though too, like whether it's a job or any sort of other relationship you have with someone. If you take that same type of mindset, you can apply that to your everyday life and not like overreact in a situation, because that person's like growing next to you, and then once they show their real colors, and then you go, oh my God, what happened? You can go, like, you have to tell yourself, like, oh, you know what, that's the weed. Like the maturity of our relationship went a certain direction, and then you can like grow from that. So I don't know. That's what I got from it, because I don't ever go fully Christian with stuff. So
I also still do have some hope for the weeds. This is.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, my deepest conviction is that
I'm just playing.
Yeah, I really believe that when Paul says that that all creation is groaning in travail, waiting for the salvation that is coming, and that Jesus is the one who brings it, that God is creating making all things new through Jesus Christ. There's a part of me that really believes that the deepest truth of our faith, I hope, and it feels right to me, is that God really is making all things new, and that even the weeds that get burned are ultimately made new, and that the burning of the weeds ends up being a purifying process and not a process of damnation. I can't preach that as gospel truth, because they're
too Disney, bro. That's too Disney.
I don't know. It might be Disney, but I can tell you, every time I burn a weed, I feel pretty renewed.
It seems to me that if Jesus and what he accomplished on the cross is powerful enough to overcome my doubt, I don't see why it should not be powerful enough to redeem the weeds. Why I should ultimately be wheat and not a weed.
I get what you're saying. I just be like, what in the Mickey Mouse is this shit?
I feel there are people in the pews in my congregations who, if they're not saying it, they will think that. What in the Mickey Mouse?
That is like not an expression that I have really heard much in my life. I kind of like that.
It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse of Forgiveness. That's how I look at it.
Well, mine's the Goofy
Jesus
House of Damnation.
That's
what it is. What in the Looney Tunes is this shit?
That's kind of what the slave said in the parable.
Dude, that's so great. It's just me like, are you a dumbass that bought that dumbass weed from last year? Like, God damn it. Like, I still am baffled about it. Just, can you imagine? You were in here. Can you imagine like going into someone's field in like medieval times and like fucking it up? And that ruins like everything forever.
Well, it's really funny. I can picture it in this time. Even I read a Reddit story one time where a guy just wanted to mess with his neighbor, so he planted bamboo in their yard. And I don't know if you guys know, but yeah,
no. Bamboo is. You put some kudzu and bamboo in somebody's yard, you did them dirty.
Does it grow?
The enemy has done this.
Does that like, okay? So I know bamboo is like just crazy, but at the same time, like I don't know the specifics. Does it grow like super deep into the ground too, and all that stuff? Like, can you just not get rid of it?
I think so. That's kind of how it sounded in the post. I don't know much about it.
It's a very difficult thing to get. I mean, you burn it down, and then there's bamboo back again. It's to get rid of it is a
So you might as well just
losing
have
that.
bamboo at that
It
point.
spreads like wildfire, kind of like
Oh,
it
yeah.
just moves. It keeps growing, right? Like everywhere.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there is kind of your modern parable. If you are retelling this, it is absolutely going to be the enemy neighbor who planted bamboo at the fence line.
Bamboo Gary's yard.
And the homeowners association said an enemy has done
no,
this.
no, the homeowners association are the ones that asked him, "Didn't you plant approved plants in the yard?"
All right, here we go.
And then the homeowner said, "An enemy has done this."
Wasn't me.
This is the president of the HOA. That's what it is. It's the president. He hates you. Scriptures are fun.
But I mean, I think there is this parable does seem to be included more as a daily lesson, the way you're using it, than the good news that is my just Lutheran pastor's knee jerk what I want to get out of it, because this does. There is a definite daily lesson to this, that you are coming to God and saying, why am I surrounded by assholes?
Yeah.
And God is like, you're just going to have to deal with them for a while.
What's the saying though? But being surrounded by assholes, maybe you are one. What is it?
See, I'm just
I'm quoting Spaceballs.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was thinking Spaceballs. Yeah.
I mean, my knee jerk reaction though is always to find the good news. I don't know if, the Gospel of Matthew is the good news. This particular parable may be more of a teaching moment in how to live in light of the good news. That may be why it rubs against me as difficult to preach, because I want to find the good news in every little pericope we preach on. And
you didn't find good news in
the weeping and the gnashing of teeth.
Yeah. And the burned with fire, so it'll be at the end of the age.
If you are the village dentist, that is extremely good news.
I just imagine did Jesus drink? Do you think he got drunk and hung out and
That was his rep.
All right, cool, good. I just imagined him just hammered and just being like, this is just fucking 10 beers deep, just getting real crazy with it. You know what I mean?
He has quit being polite to all the people.
Yeah.
It's him and the disciples. And he's like, let me tell you. We are the children of the evil one. It's going to be so bad for them.
When I get this place where I'm going to burn this fucker down.
You guys don't get it. When I get to hold them, they're going in that furnace.
Whoa, dude. That's where that guy went with that
Do
one time.
you know who my dad is?
No one believes me who my dad is.
I've never met him, but I swear it's him.
So I did mention
the removed verses.
yes.
Is there good news in them?
So
It
basically,
gets worse.
neither worse nor better. This is just in between all of this. Jesus tells two more parables that we already have talked about because they were in previous week's readings. The parable of the mustard seed and of the yeast. So we have kind of in the lectionary been sort of hopping around and kind of trying to tie together parts of this. So the intent of the lectionary here was to have the parable and then jumping straight to where Jesus explains it without having to get two more parables and then a little editorial comment about Jesus speaking in parables in the middle.
Yeah, that'd have been terrifying if I had to show up 2 or 3 weeks in a row and you're still on these freaking parables at church. Oh my god, I would probably lose my mind. I'd be like, yes, last week was yeast and now we're talking about fucking mustard seeds. I'd be so mad, dude. I'd be so mad. I'd be like, where's the good news, Eric?
You got to wait till we get into the bread dialogues.
Did you guys see that new Knives Out mystery movie?
The Wake Up Dead Man?
Yeah.
Oh, we have spoke about that on this podcast. That was excellent.
I gotta go watch it.
I did actually really enjoy it, but when he's calling everybody out individually, he's doing his sermons, I thought that was really funny. That's how I'd feel if I came in and you guys were every couple of weeks, I'd be like, man, I started to think they're talking about me a little bit.
There is a YouTube some sketch out there somewhere that is an honest pastor, in quotes, and he's just yelling at everybody. And one of them, and he's like, "And you, Bob, I took a vow not to say who's the worst, but you're the worst."
Also, could you imagine if you have that feeling, and then you know how sometimes like when you're doing like comedy and stuff, like your eyes will just gravitate to looking at like one person in the room that's like receptive, or you even believe it's receptive. Could you imagine having that feeling, and then you're like preaching for like 40 minutes, and you just keep making eye contact with me? I'd be like, he is talking to me. Like I'm so worried. Like, oh my god, I'm going to hell. This is it.
I mean, preacher's secret in smaller congregations is almost always there's, if not one individual person, a few people whose life stories are who I'm really trying to speak to that Sunday. I mean, I hope the words are wide enough that they are of some benefit by the power of the Spirit to everyone, but there is something that X, Y, or Z person in the congregation is going through that is really what I'm trying to address.
You know, there's that one guy who just, it goes over their head every time. They're just like, oh, I wonder who this one's about each week.
You just sit there going,
It is 99% of the time, it is not addressing the thing they did wrong, but what they need assurance from. It's 99% of the time. There's the times that I'm just angry enough about something that's going on in the world that I come in with vitriol. But I firmly believe that you don't address sin from the pulpit unless it is a sin of which you are at least somewhat culpable. Standing and pointing the finger at those sinful people is the wrong way to do it. So If I am calling out some wickedness in the world, it is not always. There are times that I've been angry, but it's usually, if I'm calling out a wickedness, I am not using a pastoral we. I am actually one of the we that I'm bringing up. But did you hear? I'm going way back in the episode as we get ready. Actually, no. We're almost out of time, and I am not going to open up an entire new topic. I will say, if I'm having to find good news in this, I think the fact that you might look like a weed, because if the weed looks like wheat, you might end up becoming wheat in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a thing of spiritual immaturity and spiritual maturity, and just as we're waiting to get rid of the weeds, if you're worried, as I am frequently, that I am one of the weeds, sometimes wait. The Holy Spirit might do something with you.
or don't go the other way.
Yeah, I mean that. And now I'm trying to assure myself here. These are my and you're like,
Josh is trying to push you to the dark side. He's like, become an instrument of evil.
He's like, now just remember. I mean, you might think here, but you could be weeds. But we are almost out of time.
So, fellas, what do you got coming up on the comedy stage sometime after mid-July?
I just got like one show in September thus far. I got a show coming up the second weekend of September. I think it's like the 12th. It's going to be in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, come check me out. Follow me on Instagram. Rit keeps talking, RIT. See what I got going on.
So far, I have a show sometime in August. I totally forget. And then September 4th, I'm in Connecticut, weirdly enough.
So go find Queen sometime in August.
Come find me sometime in September.
Where can they find you if they're looking for more details on it?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube on Seth Queen _comedy. I've actually also started doing a bunch of sketches and trying to make more content out there outside of just the stand-up. So please give it a follow and give it some views.
Yeah. Time once people paid you to make the content. You didn't just make all the content in a hope that someday there would be step 2 unknown and step 3 profit, but that's not the
Did
landscape.
you just drop an underpants gnome joke?
I did.
Awesome.
For our listeners, Bob is the one who introduced me to the concept of the underpants gnomes when I was his intern. And so he's notably proud of me.
I love that
having
of
an underpants
all of the
gnome.
things that I may have passed on to you as your
The
supervisor.
underpants gnome stuff.
Look for more great wisdom from us at CPTB Pod, at CPTB POD. And here we are at the end of another hour. If we offended you somehow, don't know how that happened, but we're sorry.
No, we retract that apology. You listened, you did it yourself. Take accountability.
Okay, so since Eric is obviously calling you a dumbass, stop being dumb and just like this thing. Subscribe to it, share it with all kinds of people who need to hear it.
Share it with non-people, animals, plants. It doesn't matter. We need the listeners.
Scatter it all over the place so somebody can say, an enemy has done this. Da, da, da. We'll be back next week with more great stuff for you.
Until then, may the Holy Spirit do her thing in your life.